Things are about to get really ugly in the UK housing market. How ugly? Here in Valley of the Dolly. So in the US, we have what's known as a 30-year fixed loan. And in a 30-year fixed loan, you find that the payments never change over that 30-year period. The interest rates never change. And you can expect no penalty if you're able or capable of paying it off early. Those are the general rules. You'll find exceptions. And those interest rates might have been between 3% and 4% if you were able to snag a loan prior to 2022, 2021, when rates started to go up. And you could, if you're able to stay in that house until the loan's paid off, you don't need to ever worry about your mortgage increasing even though inflation is going up dramatically. You're going to find that your home loan is going to look like quite a value with the increase in inflation. Rents, everything else will go up, but that mortgage, it'll stay the same. In the UK, they also have fixed mortgages. So when I initially went through and was researching the United Kingdom, I looked it up and I thought, oh my gosh, United Kingdom, they have all of these fixed rate mortgages. What is the difference? In the United Kingdom, a fixed rate mortgage is generally fixed for 2 years or fixed for 5 years. And then after that point, the interest rate floats. So what we're seeing in the United Kingdom, this year alone, we're going to see 600,000 loans become, that were fixed, that were going to come up for a change. So they'll become adjustable rates. Those 2 to 5 year loans will be floating at an adjustable rate. This also means that there will be 1.8 million that will reset in 2023. And combined, that's 26% of all loans that are in the nation, okay, out of the 9 million home loans that appear to be out there. Now, if you add on top of that the 1.7 million loans that are currently floating on an adjustable rate, you're talking about 45% of all home loans in the United Kingdom will become floating rate mortgages if they're not refinanced into a fixed of 2 to 5 years in the near future. Why is this important? It's important because we're seeing interest rates rise dramatically. So unlike in the US or other countries where a fixed rate may last longer, in the United Kingdom, it only lasts 2 to 5 years and you begin to float. So you're going to see people who had an interest rate 2 to 3% who will now be paying 6 to 7%. And not only that, but we anticipate, or not everybody, but you hear experts talking about the possibility that the United Kingdom will face an inflation rate of 20% next year, which is huge. And if you have a 20% inflation rate, it's likely there may be a need to further increase interest rates to try to suppress that inflation and drive it down. It may not necessarily be related to home costs because you may see home costs drop, but it'll be very interesting to see what happens in the UK next year to combat what potentially may be very, very strong inflation, stronger than what we're expecting in the United States. So an example of this change in the interest rate is something that Samuel Toombs, who is the chief economist at Pantheon Macroeconomics, brought forward. And in that, he noted a 2-year fixed rate mortgage in the first half of next year, its monthly repayments would jump a whopping 73%. So you would see a mortgage that paid 800, something like that, it would go up to 1,490. So that's a huge change from 863 to 1,490. And it's a 73% increase if you're looking at the percentages, which is huge, and means that that loan may no longer be affordable for somebody who has that house. And at that point, they're going to have to stop and decide, what am I going to do to make this house more affordable? Is there a loan option that they'll put out there which will last longer than the typical UK home loan, which appears, as far as the research I found, to be about 25 years. So will they extend it to 30 years, 35, maybe even 40 years, which may significantly drop the payments? Or will people have to pony up and figure out a way to either put more money in to lower the amount that they're paying, or do they have enough income to absorb that increase in their loan payments? Something else that we saw at the end of September after the mini budget came out, in the 3-day period of September 23rd through September 27th, there were 350 different loan options pulled from the table. And then on the 28th of September alone, there were almost 1,000 different loan options pulled off the table by banks. Why was this? Because typically most people in Britain are doing really preferably a 5-year fixed rate mortgage. And for them to be able to jump in right now and refinance before rates went any higher, they were looking at plucking one of these loans. The problem is the banks, when they give you this loan, what they do is they do what's called a swap. So yes, they're giving you the loan, but they're swapping it. And then for a 2-year agreement with another holder. And if the problem is the bank wasn't sure if they could find that swap out there when they were offering the loan. So they pulled all of those options. So there was a lot of turmoil in the market. And now, even if it's coming back, you're going to see those interest rates be dramatically higher. And people when Google was looking for changes in search terms, they found that remortgaging had jumped 100% inside the UK as a search term, because people in the last couple of weeks have been desperate to look at what they might be able to do to remortgage that loan. So right now what they're expecting is that the Bank of England is going to have a rate of 4% by the end of 2022, and then 5.5 by the middle part of 2023. And that would mean that the best possible 2-year fixed rate mortgage would be at least 6.5. And I think right now it's even at 6%, I think. And a 5-year fixed is somewhere below 6%, but not a lot. So we're already seeing those loans go up dramatically. And even though now 90% of them are showing up as fixed rate mortgages that are coming through, especially for 5 years, and 96% of current loans that are being processed through at fixed rates. It still means there are a huge number of loans that are going to have to be remortgaged to get these rates locked in, at least even for just 2 to 5 years. The other thing we're finding is that there isn't an expectation. This idea of free money is going away. So the idea that you can expect rates, the Bank of England was saying not very long ago that rates would go up gently and then they would subside as inflation came down. I don't know if that's really going to be true anymore. I think personally that the time of free money is probably over right now, at least for an extended period. And you're going to see interest rates, probably be the norm, at least near where they are now. And if Great Britain faces what's some experts are saying is a 20% rate of inflation next year in 2023, then interest rates may take a sharp turn up to try to unhinge that inflation and bring it down. So we'll have to wait and see next year what's going to happen. So all of these things are very unsettling, I'm sure, for people who are buying a home in the United Kingdom who need a loan. And it's probably very unsettling when you stop and think about how much income it's going to take to buy necessities with an interest rate of 20%. And also, a lot of this may be driven by the increase in natural gas and heating fuels due to the conflict in the Ukraine. And that may be a temporary situation, and we may see some of these issues resolve themselves in a year or so as solutions are found to the supply of natural gas, as prices begin to normalize, etc. But for right now, we're seeing that that's definitely a serious issue. The other interesting thing is we haven't seen interest rates as high as this in the United Kingdom until you go back to maybe 2008. So the question really is, do UK home prices need to make that big of a drop to take them back to that point in around 2008 where an interest rate was similar? And partly, I think this is driven by the fact that income levels have not risen that far between these two periods. Once you remove inflation from the mix, I think you'll see that inflations in the United Kingdom have not jumped significantly. So yes, it could absorb 100, 150 pound increase in mortgages without seeing a drop, right? But if you're looking at what rates were back in 2008, how much people had mortgaged, those numbers were significantly lower, 35, 40%. So when you hear experts say that they estimate it's quite possible for Great Britain to have a 40% reduction in the housing market, I can understand where that's coming from and why a 20% drop might be very understandable considering a 4% rise and increase in interest rates will cause your mortgage payments to go up by, 75%. So with the United States, do they see the same thing? Right now, Moody Analytics is talking about a 5 to 10% drop nationwide. If we have a recession, then they're looking at, at least 10 to 15%, and some markets that could get hit as high as 20 to 25%. These are all just predictions. You don't really know, but I think as a home owner, it is worth looking at where you see rates going and how you can best mitigate it, whether you live in the United Kingdom or the United States, and understand what moving might do to you in the United States if you have to give up that low interest rate you currently have on your 30-year fixed, and how refinancing in Great Britain may really dramatically change what you can afford with a home. This is Ted at Valley of the Dolly, and I look forward to talking with you soon. Please hit the like and subscribe button, and we'll talk soon. Thanks.